Running my first marathon, Rotterdam Marathon 2023, was such a great experience. I started this journey with no specific goal in mind and I ended up targeting and running a sub 3-hour marathon. How did I do it? And more important, what are the lessons learned from this? You will find out in this video. I know that most of us watching right now this video are precisely where I was some time ago. Trapped in a routine, mentally and physically exhausted, and you just feel like you need something different, something else to break free. And this is how I was maybe half of a year ago, where I felt like I need something new, a challenge. And that's why I decided to create my own challenge and run 2000 kilometers for 2023. But at one moment I was thinking, hey, 2000 kilometers, I never did it, but I think I can do it. And I need something more than that. So I said, I will sign up also for my first marathon, for my first ever marathon. At first, I started with no precise target in mind, but as I was reading some books, I was following some runners on social media, my objectives grew bigger and bigger. While I didn't have in mind any certain criteria for performance, I did have in my mind two criteria for how the training should go. I wanted to be the minimum number of days of training per week and the minimum number of weeks of training till marathon. And I know this is contrary to everything you may read and everything you may follow on social media, but while I like running, I do not love it. And I wanted to have time for other things, other hobbies. I wanted to do other things in my free time besides running and besides recovering only. So what was specifically my training plan? My training plan was 4 times training per week for 15 weeks. Started at 1st of January and ended on 16th of April with Rotterdam Marathon. But just to be totally honest, I didn't start totally unfit. I had some runnings before 1st of January, very random, easy runs at 6, 8, 10 kilometers depending on how I felt, just with no clear objective. So what was exactly the plan that I followed? Well, the plan was created by me, which involved 2 serious trainings and 2 easy runs or recovery runs for that week. One of the serious training involved a speed workout, which was a tempo run or intervals, and one of the other serious trainings was a long run on Sunday, because the Sunday is the day of the marathon. The speed workout, tempo or intervals were supposed to be alternated every week, so one week meant intervals, the next week meant tempo run. The tempo run was every time half the distance of the long run of that week. So for example, Sunday I had the long run, for example 16 kilometers. Thursday before that long run I had tempo run. This was an 8 kilometer tempo run at marathon pace, minus 5 seconds. The interesting part is that while I really kept consistency, I planned 4 trainings per week and I always had them at the day I planned. The training itself, especially for intervals, were modified along the way throughout this 14 weeks, multiple times, because of multiple reasons, which I'm going to talk in the lessons learned at the end of this video. Even though everyone knows that the training is the most difficult part, the days before the race and the race day can be pretty nerve-wracking. You know that things can go wrong. It can be either a bad start or bad weather conditions, or other variables you actually may not have control. During race day, of course, everyone is a bit anxious, and I was as well anxious, and I was thinking, I should keep calm, stay composed. I trained for this. I'm going to finish this race, whatever. And if it's going to be a good time as well, that is going to be just the cherry on the top. But let's see how the race went better.
Woo! Finish. What a race, man. We're going to the start of the Rotterdam Marathon. Super busy, barely finding a toilet. But now we get ready for a warm-up and start. Let's go! Properly for this marathon, but I don't have time. Kilometer 2, 4:02. Target 4:15. We need to slow down. I need to slow down. Kilometer 35 for 10. Let's go. Kilometer 40, 4:08. 300 meters more. Let's go. What a race. We suffered, we worked hard, but the training paid off. I think it would have been much more harder with no training or bad training. 2:56. Whew. It was a nice race, good weather conditions, not bad wind, no rain, good temperature, around 10 degrees Celsius. I want to say something smart because you will see this video, but I don't have anything smart to say. Other that I'm happy I finished. And that's it. Opa!
I'm going to go here with not the standard lessons learned that you may find on social media, like have the proper gear, buy the proper shoes, do not start hard the race but start easy, and others alike. I'm going to go with other 3 lessons learned that I applied and I think it made the biggest difference for me. Number 1, adaptive training, and I think this was maybe the most important to achieve my objectives. Adaptive training is one of those lessons learned that you don't learn during the race day, but you learn till the race day. Of course, there are so many things that should go right only in order to have the training, from proper diet, proper recovery, stay injury free. For me, these things came a bit more natural. Training with the wrong training or unrealistic targets was worse for me from being overtrained or even undertrained, and I put an accent on this aspect more. Look only how many times my training was changed along the way, and I think this is mostly because from one week to another I felt different. I felt I had a different progress and I just needed to change it to go along with the right training. I don't think there is a standard training that you make it in the beginning and then you stay with that forever. I think it needs to be modified, adapted. Lesson number 2, have a simulation marathon before the real marathon. And of course, I'm not talking about the simulation of the full marathon because this will be actually not indicated. I'm talking something more like a half marathon. I had 5 weeks before Rotterdam Marathon, the Hague half marathon. This was a race that I had the opportunity to test gear. I had the opportunity to test drinking solutions. I had the opportunity, and I think it's a good opportunity for everyone to release stress by having this kind of half marathon or some kind of competition before the actual marathon, because you go to the real marathon a bit distressed because you had that race before. For example, I could test my short pants, running shorts that meant with a lot of pockets where I could put the hydrogel, I could test the weight, I could test the electrolyte drink before the half marathon, and I could test the drinking method, which is a problem every time for me, how I drink from those cups along the marathon, along the half marathon or along the race. And this was important for me. I enjoyed that race. I finished the half marathon in 1 hour 28 minutes. That was cool because let's see how it went during the real marathon. Lesson number 3, and I think this is the last lesson for today. This is a bit more difficult, that a lot of people would not agree with me. But you know, this is only my view, my lesson learned. Maybe for everyone is different. But I realized that having fun is not the same with having or reaching a certain target. My target for this marathon at one point, that stayed the target, was to run a sub 3 hour marathon. And you would hear a lot of advices on the social media, you know, to have fun. This is one of the most important aspects of running, and it is true. But for me, at one point, having fun was not having fun anymore, just running for performance, training hard. And this was a bit fighting and going against the idea of why I started this, journey of running 2,000 kilometers in 2023. I realized that I will just be more satisfied, and I would feel better actually achieving my goal of running a sub 3 hour marathon. This was actually against this idea of having fun. Keep in mind that I ran mostly during the winter times, the winter months, which was January, February, and March. In these months, you have everything, and I live in the Netherlands. I had everything here, from rain, wind, cold, dark, and most of the time a combination of all, or some of these elements. And it was not fun. Not every time. I had my moments also when I had fun. It's true. But a lot of times I think I had less fun and I was working only to reach the goal. Okay, that's it for today. Till next time, stay safe.